What's up guys, Luke here with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be responding to a couple viewer questions that I've gotten recently, and the question is, what are some benefits or what are some pros and cons of going to college and dropping out of college? So this is a very touchy subject. Now some people really like this subject, some people are really for dropping out, some people really aren't. And I'm going to kind of give my opinion on that and just basically list a couple common factors, behind my thoughts on it, and then also point to a couple very successful people that have also dropped out of college. So we're going to talk about the pros of going to college first. So number one, there is a lot of financial and career benefits. So by going to college, you obviously kind of get opened up to a portal of a bunch of different career options, because when you go to college, it's kind of about you. You get to select what classes you study. You get to select your major. It's all about you. It's not like high school where you have to go to classes that are assembled that everybody's taking. It's kind of about you. And then on top of it, there are studies out there that show that most people who go to college, such as people who earn an associate's or a bachelor's degree, do earn higher than people who only have a high school diploma. Now, to contradict this quick, before we get into number two on, just kind of the pros of going to college, it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, what your diploma is unless you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor or a field in a career that requires a degree, because it's really about how you apply yourself. Two kind of on my list is basically you get to explore your interests. So kind of going back to number one, college opens up a lot of career options because you get to choose what you want. Like I said, in high school, you basically only have a choice of basically a handful, math, science, social studies, language arts. I mean, you've got like a handful, 4 or 5 classes that are basically, they're given to the masses. You don't get to choose any of these, and you kind of just got to go through it. In my opinion, high school is more of a social and bonding experience, just how to get along with people, how to bond with people, try to make friendships. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't end up being friends at the end of their high school senior year anyways, because of all the drama that comes along with it. So in my opinion, I'm really kind of against high school more than I am college, just because of the fact that you really don't have a choice in any of it. And, if you make every fish try and climb up a tree, and you try and make every, dog try and swim across the ocean, it doesn't make any sense. Everybody learns differently, and that's the problem with high school, is you don't really have a choice. Now, if you were to take that dog and say, hey, run across the field and go bark up the tree, dog would probably make it. But if you tell the fish to do that, it's not going to work. And they have the classes, and they give them to everybody. There's no change in nothing. So that's kind of, a con that kind of goes against number two, is college is good because you actually have a choice. And so that's why, I'm not so against college. 3 obviously kind of goes hand in hand with the social experiences. You'll have fun and actually make friends. You might actually make some business partners from college. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg went to college, and he asked some dorm mates to come to his dorm for a business meeting, and the people that showed up have done very well together. So you might very well meet business people in college, because a lot of people who are going to college might be more like-minded than the people you may have met in high school. So obviously, making friends, networking, because your network is your net worth, networking with important people could be a big benefit of college. And then another thing, number 4 I got on my list, is it gives you space for self-improvement. So for a lot of people, the majority of people out there, this is kind of the first time actually living on their own. A lot of people live at home throughout high school, and then they go right into college, but after they move into college, they actually get a dorm room, they get a roommate, and they actually learn how to be on their own. So they learn to be self-sufficient, which I think is extremely important. There's a lot of people in this millennial age, people my age, that are, 25, 24, 23, 22, and they're kind of entitled. They don't know how to fend for themselves because they never really have been on their own. And so that is one good thing about college. It does kind of force you to be self-sufficient, and it kind of, makes people learn skills such as, budgeting, how to motivate themselves, and just basically without any outside encouragement. It teaches people to actually get up and go. So that being said, kind of just talking about these 4 pros here, I'm not personally against college, but I am against some of the things that happen. So example, people who go into college and they want to pursue a major that really doesn't make any money. So example, you're going to go pursue a major, and at the end of, your 4-year career in college, you're going to have, $80,000 in debt, and your salary is going to be $2,000 a month. That is not worth the trade. And I know a lot of people, and I do believe in this, they pursue things that they love, but they don't look at the financial side of things. And unfortunately, whether you love it or not, you do have to find something that you like, but it also has to make you money. You can't just pick something that you absolutely love and not look at the financial side of it or the financial trade of it. Even if you're trading, a job that you hate for a job that you love, if the job that you love doesn't pay the bills, well, you're not going to prosper in life and you're not going to be able to pay back your student debt either. So I think college is kind of a slippery slope. I definitely think also people should go to a technical college rather than trying to go to a university. If you look at some of the bills and some of the teachers, etc., and just all the research that's out there, and I'm not going to get into that in this video because we could go on all night, a lot of the people that go to technical college get similar education than people in universities, except for universities, people end up paying, sometimes 3 or 4 times more than people who went to technical college. And if you're getting the same degree, unless you're trying to be, maybe a brain surgeon or just a, if you're trying to be in the very 1% of your industry, sure, maybe you want to go to Oxford or Harvard, but at the end of the day, for the most part, you're going to get the same qualifications from a technical college at a far, lesser rate. And if you're not going into something that's going to make you big money, it's even worse when you go off to one of these universities and pursue a major or a degree that isn't really going to net you any money at the end of the day, and you're going to have all this debt and you're just not going to know what to do. Now, the other thing that I don't like about college is the fact that there are a lot of majors or degrees out there being offered, and really there's no more jobs out there. People aren't hiring for that industry, and that is a very slippery slope, and it can be very dangerous financially for people to get into that trap. Now, I'm going to talk about the 3 possible disadvantages of attending college. So, number 1, there is a risk of high cost and potential debt. College is really, really, really expensive, with costs continuing to rise, and many college graduates are burdened with astronomical student loan debt. I had talked to a friend of mine not that long ago. He is making $2,500 a month. Can't remember exactly what he does. And he's got close to $100,000 in college debt. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, and he's not a rocket scientist by any means. He's not a doctor. He's not a lawyer. He's not making, over 6 figures a year. And it's just for him to have that kind of debt, was it really worth it? And we had a long talk about this the other day. And he just said, honestly, I wish, we would have talked sooner. He's kind of a good friend of mine now. And he's actually passively flipping phones. And he said, I wish we would have talked sooner, because he's see, the problem with, I think a lot of people have, and what my friend said is, he goes, I just never really knew how to make money growing up, and I just thought maybe going to college would teach me how to make money. College really doesn't teach people how to make money. It teaches you how to go work for a company, and that company knows how to make money. And since they're making money, they're paying you. But you never really learn any actual skills on how to make money. So there's a very high cost and kind of low reward in going to college. Of course, you're going to get some self-dignity by, graduating, telling people you have a degree and everything. But at the end of the day, if your bank account is lacking, well, you're not going to really feel so good about yourself when you go home from, either going out or going on vacation. You come home and you're like, wow, I don't have anything left over at all, and I've got all this debt. It's not fun being in debt. In fact, debt and financial stress is one of the number 1 causes for suicides, and also, people ending their relationships. It's just debt and just financial stress is really a bad thing, and college has a very high risk of putting people into that. So that's number 1 on my list as far as disadvantages of attending college. The other thing, which is basically number 2 on my list, is the financial benefits of college might be overstated. So this kind of goes hand in hand with number 1, but basically there's a claim out there. I'm not sure if it's still accurate, but the claim basically says that college graduates earn $1 million more in their lifetimes. It might actually be skewed by graduates from top universities. So going back to number 1, like I said, you don't want to go to a top university because you're gonna have so much more debt, and unless you're choosing one of those degrees or majors that's gonna make a lot of money when you're done graduating, you're really not gonna make any more money than anybody else, especially because you have all this debt. So you're not really gonna get ahead. And a lot of the figures out there are kind of overstated because, they're telling you can make X amount of money, but they're basing that off of a Harvard graduate, which is, one of the best schools in the country. To my knowledge, I'm not huge into researching schools, but Harvard is just one that always stands out to me. So basically, the financial benefits of college actually might be overstated, and I think that the general population, especially those that are high school graduates, are kind of brainwashed into this society norm of, I need to go to college, I gotta go to college, I gotta get my degree, then I'm gonna make money. That's not really how it works. Like I said, it kind of goes back to it's how you apply yourself. The third big disadvantage or reason why you shouldn't really go to college is your parents or maybe your friends or your significant other thinks college is important, but you don't really want to go. So obviously your parents, your friends, your girlfriend, whoever, your fiance might want you to go to college or school, but if you don't really have it in your heart that you don't really want the degree, I would never ever go, because you're going to go and you're not going to apply yourself. You might fail, and sometimes if you fail and you get kicked out of college, you still owe them money. I mean, they don't just wipe your debt out because you end up being a failing student. So that's kind of a big disadvantage of attending college too. It's not even a guaranteed thing. Like some people, as I said, some people learn better than others or learn in different ways. And so even if you're trying, putting in the effort, there are some people out there that sometimes they end up failing. And I've talked to several people out there that have college debt from a college that they may have attended, but they, didn't pass their class and they had to take it over and they got more debt. And it's just like, what a horrible experience. What a horrible experience to have to continue attending school and then you're racking up more debt while you're in school and you're barely making any money. Now, going back to what I said, I'm not completely against college, but I think there's a lot of signs out there that point to you really don't need to go to college to make money. And so I just got an article pulled up here, and this is basically 10 ultra successful millionaire and billionaire college dropouts, and we're just going to go through a few of them. So one on the list is Michael Dell. For those of you guys that don't know him, he dropped out his freshman year at age 19, and he would go on to basically found Dell Technologies, which is computers, laptops, etc. Another one that probably every one of us knows, especially the phone flippers out there, is Steve Jobs. The founder of Apple left Reed College when he was just 19, reportedly because it was too much of a financial burden for his family. So going back to what I said in my cons of going to college is, it's very expensive. It's extremely expensive, and it's kind of unheard of as the numbers keep rising. So obviously, we all know what Steve Jobs did. He, invented the first Mac. He's behind Apple, etc. Steve Jobs was an awesome person and went on to do awesome things, whether he graduated college or not. Julian Assange, and I might have pronounced that wrong, he basically was the founder of WikiLeaks, which obviously that's kind of not such a good thing and all this and blah, blah, blah now. But once again, another college dropout, very successful, a lot of money. Another one that we all know is Bill Gates. And when I think of Bill Gates, so you have to also understand that having an education, having a diploma doesn't always make you smart. In fact, it doesn't even always make you intelligent, because when I think of Bill Gates, I look at Bill Gates and just the way he looks, the way he dresses, and the way he talks and how he holds himself when you see him in speeches or just him talking. You can tell he's reserved. He's also, not afraid to say what's on his mind, but he just speaks with such intelligence that it's almost like he's on a whole nother level. And Bill Gates, he attended Harvard for 2 years and then he left and he went and built Microsoft. I mean, he's basically Harvard's most successful dropout. Now, yes, not everybody's going to drop out and be as successful as Bill Gates, but it just goes to show that his intelligence level, like when I look at Bill Gates, when I first saw him, when I first heard about him, when I first read about him, and when I first seen like one of his interviews, I would have never ever have guessed that he was a high school or college dropout. You would never know, just because of the fact that he speaks so fluently. He's very intelligent when he speaks, and the way that he speaks, you would just never know. So I really think that although college is not necessarily a bad thing, I really think people need to be more careful rather than just signing up for college, because it's really more about how you apply yourself, who you network with, and what you build rather than what you have. So you have this big fancy, diploma, like let's say you have a bachelor's or you have a doctorate's degree. Is it really going to help you if you want to be an entrepreneur? That's the other thing. If you are an entrepreneur, I don't think going to college is needed. I really don't. You need to find and identify what you're good at, what your skills are, and then you need to build off of those skills. So, example, if you are a female out there, and let's say you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to get into flipping, but you know nothing about phones. Well, most girls know that Pink clothing brand and Victoria's Secret brands are very expensive clothing. I do, because I've had girlfriends that buy the stuff and it's very expensive. But I personally, when I look at a pair of Victoria's Secret or Pink leggings, I don't know the value of them. I know kind of now because I've been with people that buy them and they're like $40, $50 a pair. But as a girl, let's just say you know nothing about phone flipping, but you want to get into buying and reselling, or you want to make money and you don't have your degree yet, you need to identify that you have a skill based on the knowledge of what you know, the product knowledge of Pink and Victoria's Secret. And you can take that skill then, go garage sailing or go cherry picking, and find things like that, which you have the skill already, you have the knowledge to know what it's worth, and try and find things that are worth much less than what they could sell for. And then you take that skill and that knowledge, turn it into a business by buying the stuff, reselling it, and flipping it. And then you start learning the skill of, bartering and flipping. But I really think the basis of all businesses are started by a common knowledge. And these people on this list, this billionaire and millionaire list, they identified their skills and then they went and they built it. So somebody like me, or let's just say a guy, for example, let's say you're into technology. So phones, that phones are very expensive, okay? And, it's not just a guy-girl thing here. It could be a girl doing this too. But that phones are expensive. So you go on Craigslist, you see an iPhone 8 Plus for $250. You go and test it. It all works. You have a common knowledge that that phones are expensive. You also know that they're a widely used device and that a lot of people use them and that they're easy to sell. So you take that knowledge that you already have and then start thinking money. Start thinking, okay, I know the basic cost of phones. I know that they're expensive. I know that they're easy to sell. How can I turn those 3 basic knowledge skills into a business? I believe that all businesses are started by somebody who has a common knowledge around the concept or a common knowledge around the structure of the business that they end up developing. And, this is kind of an important point in the fact that, the degree really isn't going to do that for you. It's not going to help identify that. Now, if you want to go, like I said, be a 9-to-5er and go work a job and have a career and work for somebody, yes, of course college is going to do that. But if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, I really don't think college has much to do with it. Evan Williams is another great example. He attended the University of Nebraska for 3 semesters and then he dropped out. So he's basically a freelance software programmer for Hewlett-Packard and Intel before landing a gig at Google. And then he later quit his job at Google to build Twitter, and now he's a billionaire. Congrats, Evan Williams. 3 semesters he dropped out of Lincoln, Nebraska University, and now he's a billionaire, and he made Twitter. See, he must have had some kind of background or possibly, noticed that social media was growing and that there needed to be something more. So he came out with Twitter. It had nothing to do with, attending college. Nothing probably to do with college. It's just he had obviously some kind of vision, possibly some, basic knowledge of what he was kind of looking to do. And then he turned it into a business. How can he make money with that? Another great one is Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I haven't watched too much of Mark Zuckerberg, but obviously I use Facebook. We all do. And he's a very, very, very smart guy at a very young age. And I would assume that Mark Zuckerberg, like myself actually, but I didn't have the skill set or really the interest at the time to do so, but I noticed a very big decline in MySpace. If anybody's out there, hit the like button if you used to use MySpace and you had the little profile song and all that. MySpace, back in middle school, I think it was when I last used it, it was awesome. But then as high school came around, I noticed that MySpace kind of started to have a bunch of glitches. It's like, Tom, everybody remembers Tom from MySpace. It's like he stopped putting in effort to MySpace and it kind of declined. So Mark Zuckerberg comes in years later, and I think that's when he was like, there needs to be a new social platform because MySpace is kind of falling. This Tom guy is slacking. Mark Zuckerberg had a vision. He had a common knowledge of kind of, programming, stuff like that. He got a couple other people together, and boom, he turned his interest, his likes, his somewhat knowledge or somewhat skill set, you could say, and transformed it and built it into this giant business, which is now what we call Facebook. So another perfect example from somebody who dropped out of Harvard and then founded Facebook, and now he's the 5th wealthiest man alive. I mean, it's crazy. So there's a bunch of other people on this list. Larry Ellison, Jan Koum, Travis Kalanick. Probably not pronouncing some of these right, but I mean, there's a big list here. But the point is, at the end of the day, my opinion is you don't need to go to college to be successful. And you don't have to feel bad about yourself if you don't have a degree. What really matters is the numbers. People can lie, people can start rumors, people can talk bad about you, but the nice thing about numbers, especially in businesses, numbers never lie. So if somebody wants to talk bad about you because you don't have your associate's degree and you've got $1 million in your bank account, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, you know what you have. And people who are intelligent will not let a degree define them. Like I said, it's not all about the degree. It's about what you do with your life and how you apply yourself, how you network, who you come across, and how you build, and kind of your motivation and your work ethic, which is really what's going to determine your financial success. So, and, reading books, taking online courses, like buying a phone flipping course like mine, paying for a mentor, paying for mentorship or consulting calls. These things make you very intelligent because, once again, although college is picked by people, Often college is taught by professors, that really don't have much entrepreneurship skills, or they're, making 50 to 60,000 as a professor. When you can go online and instead of paying $10,000 for a semester, you can go online and you can take an online course from somebody who's made 6 or 7 figures. That's a much better investment. So if you're looking to be financially successful, and especially if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, now, if you're a doctor or a lawyer, I'm not saying drop out of college and go and try and start your own law firm without a degree. What I'm saying is if you're trying to be financially successful and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you have those 2 goals in mind, I do not think that you need to go to college. And I really don't think a degree is going to help you all that much with your success of being financially free and to be an entrepreneur. So that being said, that's my view on it. I hope this answers a couple people's questions that have been messaging me on my thoughts about college. And hope you guys found this video beneficial. Hope it helped some of you out there, and hope you enjoyed it. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.